JJ, welcome back. Breakdown, SEC and the Big Ten. Last night was round one of the NFL draft. Guess what we're going to talk about today?
Round one of the NFL draft.
You ready to do it?
I'm ready.
Let's do it.
All right.
All right. Okay, JJ, it's April 29th, 2022. The draft was yesterday.
And
round
today
one.
and
round
tomorrow.
One. 2 and 3 are today.
Yeah.
Round one was yesterday. Let's get right into it. How did the SEC and the Big Ten do in the round one?
They did phenomenal. The SEC in particular had a third of the draft, had third first rounders just all to themselves. 12 of the players drafted played at SEC schools. 5 specifically played at Georgia. And all 5 of those players played on the defensive side of the ball, which was a record.
Wow. Any other school? Who was the winner in the Big Ten? Was there
Ooh, the winner in the Big Ten.
Yeah,
well,
what
the Big
school?
Ten had 8 players, and 3 of those players were former Ohio State Buckeyes. Now, however you want to articulate and assign whatever school them you'd like to, you can do that, but you can't deny that Garrett Wilson went 10th overall to the Saints. Chris Olave, who went 11th overall. Garrett went to the Jets, I'm sorry. Chris Olave went 11th overall to the Saints. And Jamison Williams went 12th overall to the Lions. They all went to the same team meetings. We're all in one.
Understood. JJ, there's so much we can talk about. We want to try to keep this relatively short because it's just round one.
Yeah.
Tell me, who was your favorite pick in this draft, and who was your least favorite pick in this draft? And by that, I don't mean the player you like better or more, but the team that's gonna have the most benefit from this player, and the team that you think may not have as much benefit from the least favorite. So give me your most favorite first.
Okay, so out of all SEC and Big Ten players
Exactly.
from the first round, I would have to say my favorite pick would be Garrett Wilson for the New York Jets.
Tell me more. Talk to me why.
I think he's a great receiver from Ohio State. He has speed and size, and he will provide a security blanket for Zach Wilson. I think he really completes the receiving core for the Jets. They have a former Western Michigan Bronco, Corey Davis.
Okay.
Signed him to a major deal, and then last year they drafted Elijah Moore in the first round, or was it the second round?
I can remember.
It was either late first or early second, but either way, they have a highly touted receiver opposite Garrett Wilson. So I think you're really helping your quarterback out, and your quarterback is your franchise. So I really do. And the Jets also got a tackle, I believe, or another corner. They got Sauce Gardner. So that's my favorite pick. Would be Garrett Wilson. What's yours?
Okay, Wilson was the 10th pick.
Mm-hmm.
Before I give you mine, give me your least favorite. I'll give you mine after you give me
Okay.
your least.
My least favorite would be the 3rd overall pick, the Houston Texans.
Really?
Derek Stingley Jr. I think he's at this point, I think he's one of 11 players from that 2019 LSU team that to have been drafted in the first round.
Okay.
So it's crazy how many people from that team has been drafted in the first round.
Tell me what is it about him that you don't think is deserving of the 3rd pick in the draft?
Well, his sophomore and junior seasons.
Okay.
Everyone refers to what he did as a true freshman,
Okay.
the 2019 tape, the year that they won the championship. But he was absolutely owned by Devontae Smith and Devontae Smith's Heisman year. I mean, if you watched the Heisman ceremony that year, a lot of his highlights were against Derek Stingley Jr.
Okay.
Now he does have the pedigree. His dad and grandfather, I think, both played in the NFL. I know his dad did.
Okay.
But and he does have the traits. He has the physical ability and everything like that. But he got beat a lot, and there was a lot of issues with LSU. I mean, they did fire their coach. They went through a lot of turnovers. So I'm not gonna put all of it at his feet, but
Obviously, he must have had something going for him to go that.
he has the
high.
size, he has the arm length, and he has the speed. So
Okay.
and he has the intellect. I mean,
Okay.
but You know,
Well, you know, I'm gonna say this.
I just think that the best quarterback in the draft was taken a pick later. That's all I'll say.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna say this. The drafting, the NFL draft, definitely is not a science.
It is absolutely not.
There's been some major busts, and my all-time biggest is Mr. Russell from LSU. You mentioned LSU. This is Stingley's also from LSU. Hopefully, he won't do like Russell did. But I'm gonna give you my favorite pick and my least favorite pick as well.
Okay.
And both of them happen to be receivers.
Interesting.
Yeah. One of them went 18th and one went 11th.
Okay.
The one who went 18th, who was the last receiver taken in the first round, I think he was either the fifth or the sixth receiver. And we're talking about Traylon Burks from Arkansas. Prior to the NFL Combine, he would have gone much higher. He would have gone 2 or 3 most likely. But after the Combine, he dropped. And I personally would put more faith on the films and the eye test than the combine numbers and things like that. So that's why I think that's my most favorite pick, because I think going to Tennessee as he did as 18th pick, he's going to a team that was in the playoff last year. A lot of receivers ahead of him are going to teams that are struggling.
The number 1 overall seed from the AFC.
Oh, correct. And but they lost their receiver, and so he's got to be the replacement. And I think he has the tools to do it. He has the size, he has the heart. I'm just looking forward to him producing, and I hope he does produce. And my least favorite, and not that I dislike him, I hope he does well. Ohio State, the 11th pick by the Saints, Chris Olave.
Chris Olave.
He had a great college career, and I think he's a great player. To go as high as he did surprised me, because I don't think he has the physical tools to play the NFL physical game as he does as some of the other receivers.
Oh, just because he's so slight of build?
Correct.
But he's really fast though. He's on a 4.3.
Okay.
You gotta catch somebody to hit him.
I understand. Well, those are my picks. I would not have picked him. And the other thing is, he's not as tall. He's not as tall as most receivers, but there were some great picks in the draft. Some great talent out there, and well, the offensive line really impressed me. Some players on the offensive line that got drafted. I appreciate it a lot. But you want to talk defense, JJ? You were telling me that there were 5 players from Georgia, all on the defensive side of the ball. Talk about this for a moment.
Yeah, Book ended the first round. Number 1 pick to Jacksonville was Trayvon Walker, a defensive lineman with traits that you don't see, and a guy who who's tested so well at the combine. He was like in the 100th percentile. So of physical traits in different respects, but his production wasn't there. I think he only has 9 sacks total for his career.
Oh, wow.
But you just believe in the talent, believe in the work ethic, and think that you can coach him up, and just believe in his ceiling. And to end the draft, the Minnesota Vikings took a safety, as they are known to do. They love drafting defensive backs in the first round. With the pick that they got from the Detroit Lions, they took Lewis Seen. And in between picks 1 and picks 32, you had Quay Walker, who was a bit of a reach, go to the Packers, as well as his teammates, Devontae Wyatt, who would have went a little higher, but he had a little off-the-field issues. But I like Jordan Davis going to the Eagles at 13.
Okay. He's a monster.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's a monster.
In that game, he was much more productive than his teammate that went number 1.
Yeah.
Against Michigan, against Alabama.
Really quickly, you've already mentioned Walker going 1 SEC. Number 2, Michigan guy went to
stayed home. A Michigan guy through and through, high school, college, and now
the Lions. Speaking of the Lions, JJ, I gotta get your take on their 12th pick. they traded. They gave away 3 drafts to move up to that pick. What's your take on that?
I feel like that's like
And let's they ended up picking
Jameson Williams.
Jameson Williams.
The Ohio State transfer who transferred to Alabama.
Correct.
And tore his ACL in the semifinal game and
And
changed the course of the season for the Alabama.
I think so too. Many say he was the best receiver in the draft.
Yeah.
Because of his injury, he went late. What's your take on that trade?
I don't think it made sense for the Lions. It felt kind of like if a person was living in like a trailer park and like developing and earning money and saving up money, and then instead of buying like a house, they decided to buy like a Bugatti or something.
Okay.
It doesn't seem to follow the sequence of events. Like I don't know why the Lions would do that.
Well, do you think Williams will return to his old self?
I do think so. I mean, I do think ACL tears are the science is developed to the point where the recovery time is less and less.
Okay.
It doesn't take a full year to even get back.
Do you agree with some of the analysts that he was the best receiver in the draft? I'm talking about prior to his injury.
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think he was the best receiver in his school, which is why he had to transfer.
Okay. Ooh.
I mean, and he wasn't like Jackson Smith-Njigba is going to be the number one receiver in next year's draft, and he led Ohio State in receiving this year. And Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson got drafted ahead of James Williams. I think James Williams is really good. I think he's really fast. I think he's really tall, but I don't think he's.
Okay.
I don't think he has quite the route tree of a Garrett Wilson.
So, would the Lions been better off to go after Jordan Davis? Because I was asked that question at work today. Someone said, "Well, they should have taken Jordan Davis,
Yeah,
as opposed to the receiver."
yeah, they could have did that, or they could have held pat and drafted
True.
a safety at Louis
True.
Cine with the 32nd pick, and then with the 34th pick, they could have drafted a receiver. There's that guy from Western Michigan, Sky Clark, who's available. There's a lot of different ways they could have go. They have the second pick in the draft for a reason. They're a very bad team, so I don't think you trade up for a receiver when you're a really bad team. If you want to trade up for like a left tackle, fine. If you want to trade up for a quarterback, fine. But I don't think you do that for a receiver when you have that many holes.
They lost a lot of close games last year. They were leading a lot of games that they lost in the fourth quarter last year. But JJ, in an effort to keep this kind of short, I'm going to throw this onto next year's draft really quickly. Tonight's draft. I didn't mean next year's draft. I mean tonight's draft.
the second round.
Rounds 2 and 3. I'll give you what I'm looking for out of that. I'm looking to see where Kenneth Walker III goes. There has been no running backs picked in the first round of the draft.
Yeah.
What are you looking forward to for the second round? And what's your take? What are some of the things you're thinking of in this second round pick? Second and third rounds.
David Obaji from Michigan,
the linebacker.
after he tore his Achilles, I wanted to hopefully see if he was going to go late in the first, but it looks like he's going to go tonight in the second or third. I want to see where he lands. I want to see, to step outside of the Big Ten and the SEC, we'll talk about a former SEC player and Malik Willis, former Auburn Tiger. I do want to see where he gets drafted.
Quarterback from Liberty.
From Liberty, he transferred from Auburn to Liberty.
Yeah.
I want to see where he ends up. I think he'll probably end up being the best quarterback from this draft class. So I'm hoping that. I was very happy when the Pittsburgh Steelers did not select him and they took him Pickett.
What about Mississippi's quarterback?
Yeah, I am very well. I was very bullish on Matt Corral. Honestly, I've seen him play a lot more than Malik Willis. I think he's my favorite quarterback of the guys that I've watched.
Okay.
I've seen more highlights from Malik Willis because I didn't watch a lot of Liberty games.
I don't think you could have.
Yeah, but I do know that his tape in 2021 is a kind of a Derek Stingley Jr. situation, which is kind of why Malik Willis fell. His tape this year wasn't as good as in prior years. But I think Matt Corral should go in the second or third round. I'm looking forward to see where he goes.
Okay.
You said Kemp Walker at the third?
Yeah. Do you think when will a running back get picked? When I was a kid, JJ, running backs was going 1, 2, or 3. They were the Heisman Trophy winners, and they were going. Now the value of running back is pushed way back. Will we have to wait to the third round to hear the name of a running back?
No, you won't have to wait till the third round. I think early in the second, you'll see Brees Hall go. I think he'll be
ahead of Kenneth Walker the third.
Who?
And I know Hall is going to go early. To me, those are the two best running backs in the draft.
I would say so, just because
Okay.
you see more from him in the passing game. It's less of a question mark. Kenneth Walker the third was dynamic against Michigan in the passing game, but he wasn't consistently throughout his career as effective and multi-dimensional. And I think versatility is important, especially for running backs. When you look at like the best running backs, except for Derrick Henry, they're all Christian McCaffrey, Alvin Kamara. They're guys who operate within the passing game as well.
True, very true. Well, JJ, in an effort to watch rounds 2 and 3, I want to kind of keep this short. If we left out anything, I mean, I could talk. There's a zillion things we could talk about. But is there any key things that we've left out that you want to talk about?
Yeah, the one thing I did left out is I did tell a bit of a fib earlier in this podcast. I said one of my favorite draft picks was Garrett Wilson. That was just me trying to be objective and trying to remove my own biases. But if we're being honest, Dax Hill from Michigan going 31 to the Cincinnati Bengals was obviously the best.
Why is that?
Well, you have an amazing player from an amazing school going to an amazing football team in the NFL. So I think
the fact that Cincinnati is your favorite NFL team has nothing to do with this decision.
All I know is with 2 minutes to go in the Super Bowl, they had the lead and they should have won. They were a Daxton Hill away from winning the Super Bowl last year. So this year, you already know who to put all your money in Vegas on.
The Razorbacks, of course. Hey JJ, I'm pretty much done because I don't want because if I get started, I might go over. Any more?
No, that's it. Just wrap up for the first round.
Before we leave, it's been a while since we've been out here for people to hear and see us. You've been away. You've been out of the state. Where you been?
I think you would know about that since you were the person that drove to D.C.
You helped. D.C. We've been in D.C. Everybody.
Yeah.
We went to visit the most beautiful and the most smartest lawyer in the United States of America. And just shout out to Janelle. Janelle, do your thing, girl. Love you. We out of here. WPS. Woo Pig Suey. All right.
Okay.
Have to give a shout out to Janelle, JJ.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
Had a great time in D.C.
That was